Hello and welcome to Challenger Approaching, a Smash Brothers podcast that needs a way more concise intro. My name is Sterling, I'm your player one.
My name is Will, and I'm your player. I don't like being player two, but I'll take that role for now. Whatever.
Alright, why don't you just jump right in with your newcomer suggestion this week, Will?
Whoa, 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 whoa! It's your turn, Sterling.
Is it my turn?
Yes,
Is it my turn?
Yes, you
Oh, shoot,
you
it's my
upstaged me last
turn.
episode. Yeah, with Mr. Magician. Remember?
Right. I nearly forgot. Well, Mr. Magician being one of Nintendo's oldest characters, I figure this time I should go with, someone kind of in the theme of our last episode. Another one of Nintendo's oldest characters.
I know exactly where this is going already.
I don't doubt that you do.
Honestly, it's making me a little cranky.
So, we just spent a whole episode, like, a week ago, discussing whether Dixie Kong or K. Rool should be the Donkey Kong newcomer in Smash. And honestly, at this point, either one of them would be satisfactory to me. Just as long as there's new Donkey Kong content, that's good times. But the one I want the most, if I was going to choose, I would pick Cranky Kong. Now, I have some justifications for this. I'm not completely off my rocker. So, Cranky Kong is, as I'm sure you know, the original Donkey Kong from the classic arcade game Donkey Kong. But, of course, nowadays he's a little more washed up. Not quite in as fighting form. But as shown in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, he is willing to hop back into the fray to show those whippersnappers a thing or two about how they did it back in his day. And that's, like, the core concept that appeals to me. A lot of fighting games have, like, a geezer character. The first one I ever encountered was in some Naruto fighting game that I don't even remember because I don't care about Naruto.
Who does?
But, like, the original Street Fighter had one. A bunch of other fighting games have, like, an old man on the roster who, is usually some kind of mentor to the other characters who, gets fed up with seeing his students beat each other up and jumps into the fray himself to kick some ass old man style.
See, I'm already down because I want the old man archetype of an old dude with like the long flowing white beard so bad.
Exactly. And Cranky Kong is just about the oldest old man you could have.
Absolutely.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there are other options. We've got the Legend of Zelda old man. You've also got Peppy Hare as an option. But Cranky Kong is not just an old, ape, but he's also got, like, the cane and the rocking chair, and he has a gun that shoots dentures.
So he's just a walking stereotype. I love it.
Exactly. And, of course, you've got all the other stuff from his other appearances. I imagine if any Donkey Kong character was going to be throwing barrels as a special move, it would be Cranky Kong.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have his role in Donkey Kong 64, where he provides the Kongs with equipment. I'm sure that some of that could be involved in his, that he has.
Right. DuckTales. Woo!
Right, yeah, that's, I mean, he's got that cane bounce, which, even if Cranky Kong did not have that cane bounce, I would be singing the praises of Scrooge McDuck for Smash, I love that mechanic, and it would just be so cool to see in the Smash Brothers context, bouncing around the stage with a down B that, as long as it lands on stage, can just let him bounce around indefinitely.
Absolutely, I'd be down for that.
Well, I'm glad to hear you agree. So how would you rate that newcomer suggestion out of 10, Will?
Cranky Kong, I do really want him. Like, there is a lot to work. I'm gonna give him an 8.5. He's a good choice.
Thank you.
Yes. And now I, myself, earlier you said that you wanted to break tradition and not go with another retro for a second time in a row. I'm going to take the opposite approach and keep the streak going
Okay.
with yet another villain.
Sure.
And the villain I have chosen is the Plasm Wraith from the Pikmin franchise, and Pikmin 3 specifically. For
Okay.
those of you who don't know, the Plasm Wraith is the final boss of Pikmin 3, and it actually holds references to two other bosses, each in Pikmin and Pikmin 2, and it's often heavily theorized and indeed heavily implied in the game itself that the Plasm Wraith is kind of a greater scope villain, that it might have something to do with Olimar crashing on the planet to begin with, rather than just being a random final boss encounter in the end of the third game. And in the ending cutscene, you see that it's still alive and like waving angrily at the ship as it blasts off. So it's probably going to make a return in the upcoming Pikmin game. So I don't think it
Hmm.
would be out of the question to want the Plasm Wraith to be included in Smash as a playable character. If nothing else, than to just represent the other half of the Pikmin series, whereas you have the captain and their Pikmin on one side, you have the wildlife on the other.
Right.
So for the Plasma Wraith, I'm just going to get the moveset gimmick out of the way. For his final battle, when he uses his attacks, or when he's attacked, when both of those things happen, little blobs of his form comes off of him. And
Hmm.
eventually he can reabsorb them to grow in size, but you, the captain and the Pikmin, can actually attack the blobs and make them disappear completely so that it can't regenerate and grow. So I'm thinking Plasm Wraith starts out as this large heavyweight character, possibly the biggest one if you want to go that route. And then as it goes on and it, uses more attacks, if it doesn't take the chance to reabsorb it the its life matter before an opponent knocks it out and then hits it while it's detached to make it deteriorate, then you can't grow back. So as the battle goes on, if your opponent keeps you on your toes, you're going to get smaller and lighter. And maybe that wouldn't be necessarily a complete debuff, but you'd have to adjust your playing style mid-match to compensate for it.
Right.
And I think that that would be totally unique. That's something we don't have yet in a
That's
playable
a pretty cool
character.
concept.
Right. So that's the real big reason for including him moveset wise. But I can still spell out some specials like it's up B, it can levitate and actually turn its arms into these like needle-like objects to like stick at people and grab them and impale them. So that would be its
Hmm.
recovery. The neutral special, this is great. It can actually detach a part of itself, a blob, and mold it into a lifelike representation of the Pikmin enemies. So like you press B and there's a random chance that a certain Pikmin enemy will spawn, like a Bulborb or a swooping snitch bug or what have you.
Cool.
And side special, you could have it use any one of its elemental cube attacks. It's got like fire, water, electricity, and rock. And then for the down special,
Okay.
you would reabsorb whatever blob has fallen off of you. So that's my moveset.
That sounds pretty slick. I actually never really got that far into Pikmin 3 myself. Uh, I know. I honestly couldn't adjust to the controls. I'm more used to the GameCube ones.
What? Oh wait,
I've
wait, wait.
heard
Did you
that
try
the
the Wii
Wii
remote?
remote is better.
Yeah, it
I
definitely
tried the
is.
Wii remote and I tried the Wii remote and I couldn't adjust.
What?
I know.
Oh my god, Sterling, no!
I know I'm a
That
weirdo.
masterpiece of a game squandered.
Um, but I've seen the Plasm Wraith. I've been spoiled, you could say, for a game that at this point is like 5 years old. Holy crap, that game is 5 years old.
Yeah, that was like one of the first Wii U games that released.
Yeah. So like, I like the Plasm Wraith's design. I definitely have always really liked. This is another fighting game like archetype that I've really liked is like Amorphous character. The one that comes to mind is Blob from Clay Fighter.
I'm not familiar with the
So
character.
like he's a blob of clay, you know.
Okay.
Um and like I'm into it. I definitely have always wanted a Pikmin character who, represents the wildlife portion. Uh I've always thought that Louie would be a cute choice for that, but I kind of think
Not
that
canon enough.
Louie it really isn't. Yeah. So like yeah, I'm down for Plasm Wraith.
Yes.
Like
Give me that rating.
I
Hit me with that 10. Hit me with that 10 out of 10.
I mean, I think I think before he has really earned a spot, he's got to prove that he's actually a recurring villain and not just a one-timer. So right now, I think I'd give him maybe a 6 or 7. You know what? Let's say 7.5 actually.
Ugh,
But if
ruined
he
me.
gets another appearance, that could bump up to.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So
So now we move on to the main topic of this episode, which is an in-depth character
right,
study of Mario, you know.
yeah,
Like,
the number one Super Smash Brothers character, Super Mario.
there's actually a trope. I think it's called the Mario principle, where like a certain character's name becomes so famous that nobody can hear that name and not think of the person it's based on. So like nobody's gonna hear Mario and not think of the Italian plumber in overalls, you know? Like if your name's
Right.
Mario and you introduce yourself as Mario, you know everyone's making that mental connection because it's just that huge.
Well, especially when you say it's a me.
Absolutely.
You know, I feel like that's kind of shooting yourself in the foot there if you go up to people and you're like, "Hey, it's a me, Mario
I feel like
Gonzalez."
if my name was Mario, I think I'd do that just to like preemptively keep people from being like, "Oh yeah, like the video game character." I'd probably get annoying. Just keep that from happening. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, we all know who Mario is. Not everybody knows all the details regarding his origins.
Right. Funny story about that. Mario's first appearance was actually in Donkey Kong. He was actually inside of him, like the fly type abomination.
So wait a second. Are you saying that the Mario franchise is actually a Donkey Kong spin-off?
I mean, yes. I was also saying that that Mario himself kind of like budded or spawned out of Donkey Kong's like physical shape. Like they were fused when they were introduced. But that's false. That was a lie that I told, like as a joke.
Oh,
Um in reality, Mario, originally named, kind of hardly named, originally dubbed Jumpman, was the main playable protagonist of the arcade game Donkey Kong, and he went up some girders to rescue his boo from a big ol' monkey.
yeah. And that Boo was actually Pauline, not Princess Peach.
Right. Which is why Pauline is now the mayor of the girder-filled New Donk City, Super Mario Odyssey.
Right? Now, let me tell you, Sterling, have you ever made the connection, like, when Mario eats a mushroom and he grows bigger and stronger? That's very similar to how Popeye eats spinach and grows bigger and stronger.
You know, I have not made that connection. I actually made a completely different connection with the mushrooms, but go
Well,
on.
here's the thing. Donkey Kong was originally supposed to be a Popeye game, a Popeye licensed arcade game. But they had issue with the
Is
licensing.
that
Yes,
so?
it all comes full circle. Mario is Popeye.
Oh.
Yes.
And I imagine Pauline is olive oil and Donkey Kong is Bluto?
Yes! That is it! You've nailed it! That's basically what this
It's
is.
it's almost as if both of us know all of this information already.
Almost. So yeah, like, honestly, I'm so happy. Can you just imagine how much history would have been different in regards to video games if that had been a Popeye game?
Yes.
Would Popeye become Nintendo's mascot? Maybe they'd have like partial rights.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, but still,
No, I think like Nintendo did end up making a Popeye game
yeah, but I'm sure it sucked.
later on.
It wasn't Donkey Kong.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely not Donkey Kong.
So, is that enough Donkey Kong discussion? We ready to move on to the
Yeah, I mean, like,
real
well,
Mario game?
so I mean, what did you like? You played Donkey Kong, right?
Sure, I played it at an arcade when I was younger.
Yeah. What did you?
I mean, as far as
Did you have a
arcade go,
good time?
as far as arcade games go, it's got to be one of the better ones. I think. Classic arcade games. It's fun. It's fairly addicting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. That movie was cool.
Huh?
The King of Kong, Fistful of Quarters.
Huh? What?
Did,
I don't know.
did you Did you never watch King of Kong?
No.
Dude, come on.
Oh, is that
Okay,
the
well,
documentary on the guy that cheated?
yeah. The Billy Mitchell Steve Wiebe controversy.
Right. And then that guy would later go on to be parodied in Pixels, possibly the worst Adam Sandler movie of all time, which also included a Donkey Kong cameo as its like big
Right.
finale scene. It was like a game of Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
God, what a
It's hard
way to disgrace it.
hard to call it potentially the worst Adam Sandler movie of all time. It's got pretty stiff competition with the rest of Adam Sandler's videography.
I mean, look, the only one that might be worse is Eight Crazy Nights. Adam Sandler's like Jewish holiday special, which just shat
Yeah,
on every.
okay.
Just no,
Okay, you anti-Semite.
that's not that. You know, that's not why.
I know. Yeah, I mean, like, all of his movies are bad, though. They're all bad. They're
Well,
all real
like,
bad.
some of the older
He's a
ones
bad
are
person.
fine, like Billy Madison and Waterboy. I mean, this classic Adam Sandler, that's all right, but he's since obviously gone downhill. Anyway, we're not. This isn't about Adam Sandler.
The association that I had with Mario eating mushrooms to grow bigger, which was not the case in the original Donkey Kong, was actually with Alice in Wonderland, where Alice eats mushrooms that make her grow bigger and smaller.
Okay. Do we have any confirmation on a Nintendo game being based on Alice in Wonderland? I feel like that was a thing that happened.
I mean, I don't think so, but we do have. I mean, Miyamoto has said that the fantastical, surreal nature of the Mario world was originally based on the Alice in Wonderland books.
Okay.
So I don't. I think that's probably one of the major inspirations.
A connection.
And you can kind of see it when you look at it.
Yeah.
Like Wigglers are kind of like the caterpillar that smokes the hookah. The Cheshire Cat is weird as hell, and so is Professor Egad. I don't
That
know.
was a weird comparison. I thought we were gonna go with like
Yeah.
Cat Bowser or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Sure.
The connection I made with Alice in Wonderland was Termina from Majora's Mask, but whatever. Whatever. So on
Right.
to the big
Right.
Mario game, Super Mario
Yeah,
Bros. The
I mean
original.
that's the one that introduces the mushrooms and a bunch of the other fantastical elements. Donkey Kong and Mario Bros. In arcades, not to be confused with Super Mario Bros. Like these games kind of just take place in Brooklyn, like real ass Brooklyn, a little.
Yeah, and
But
one is like up in the
in-
sky on girders, the other's underground in the sewer system. It's kind of like a
yeah. But in Super Mario Bros., Mario and Luigi get sucked down into the pipes to a fantastical alternate world called the Mushroom Kingdom.
the canon
and
has since
in
been
the-
retconned. Sorry, Captain.
Well, yeah, but oh,
Oh.
but in the Mushroom Kingdom, there's trouble. The Dark Koopa King Bowser has kidnapped the princess of the Mushroom Kingdom, Princess
Right.
Toadstool, and used her magic potential, harnessed it in order to turn the citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom into bricks.
That Mario smashes the entire game, presumably killing
Right.
all of the Toads, and that was also
Probably.
totally retconned from the canon.
Completely.
Yes.
Yup. A lot of these old games are weird. But Super Mario Bros., was one of the first titles on the Famicom, and it, really paved the way for 2D side-scrolling platformers, which would be the dominant video game genre, pretty much until,
The 64 era.
I guess so,
yeah.
I would say Doom is what harbingers the defeat, because that nowadays FPSs are the dominant genre.
Totally oversaturated.
I mean, so were platformers, to be fair.
Fine.
Um
So, original Super Mario Bros. You ever play it?
yeah, I played it.
You think it holds up?
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty fucking fun.
I agree.
Like the momentum in that game is really well done. And like sure it's not, modern sensibilities. It's not the design is lacking sometimes, but that doesn't mean that it's so bad. It's fast paced, it's fun, it feels good to play.
Yeah, I agree. So, well, we should probably point out that there is an expansion pack to the original Super Mario Bros. Called Super Mario Bros. 2 in Japan and Super Mario Bros. The
Right.
Lost Levels in America. Originally, I mean, we all know about Doki Doki Panic and how that became Super Mario Bros. 2 in the West. Us Americans
Right.
apparently weren't skilled enough to handle the Lost Levels, as it would later be called.
Yeah.
But it was basically just the original Super Mario Bros. But with more difficult level design. Graphically and in terms of content, like it didn't change.
Mm.
It was
It
basically an
did allow
expansion
you to
pack.
play as Luigi,
It did do that, but that's about the extent of it.
and it introduced poison mushroom.
Yeah,
I know.
like those stuck
Yeah.
around.
Right. I mean, they're still in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, they are. Are they called poison mushrooms? I
Yup.
think they're called. I want to say they're cursed mushrooms. Whatever. We'll go with poison
I don't know.
mushrooms.
Anyway, so kind of glossing over the second Mario title to reach the third Mario title, Super Mario Brothers 3, regarded by many as the greatest title in the series.
Well, it's certainly the
Uh,
best 2D platformer. I mean, come on, only a moron would say otherwise, right? Like, what other game competes? Super Mario World? No.
yes? Yeah, that one. Super
No.
Mario World is significantly better in my eyes,
We'll
but
get
go
into
ahead
that.
and
We'll get into that later. Super Mario
yeah,
Bros.
yeah.
3, like, graphically, it released on the NES, but it was a massive improvement over the original two. It had much more content. It was huge. There were like, was it 8 different worlds, each with a bunch of different levels in them, and you would navigate the world map. The game introduced the world map to the
Right.
Mario series for the first time. There were like branching paths and secret routes or levels to come across. It's just
And toad houses and like
yes,
mini games, that
absolutely.
card thing. It's like absolutely a kick-ass game. I love Super Mario Brothers 3.
It is the best platformer of all time, complete with the best power up of all time, the Tanuki Leaf or Tanuki Suit.
I mean, I wouldn't even call that the best power-up in Mario 3.
Don't say the frog suit.
No, the fucking
The hammer
hammer
thing.
suit, man.
Eh,
Yeah.
no. I mean, like, it's
Oh,
fun,
come
but
on.
it's not as inspired. Like, the Tanuki Leaf and the Tanuki Suit, much more impactful, much more fun to dick around with, I think. Come on, like running across the stage and having to build up your meter so you can fly across the entire thing.
I mean, okay, definitely giving Mario the ability to fly is a good thing, and I like it. The Super Mario Brothers 3 implementation of it I find lacking just a little. But that's mostly just because I prefer the more complex inputs that Super Mario World allows, with its super cape.
Right. And Super Mario Bros. 3, even though they would go on to be hated for how overused they were in the Mario canon, it did
Hmm.
introduce the Koopalings for the first time. Bowser's 7
It did.
generals.
I mean, they were originally his kids,
Right.
but
I
that's
know.
fine.
And then they retconned it,
Yeah, they
as they
did.
tend to do with these older games. So Koopalings, what are your
Yeah,
thoughts on them?
I'm okay with them.
I mean, I don't love them, but I love Ludwig. And like originally,
Ludwig's great.
yeah, and he's always like the last one, and I always thought he was the head of them. He's the oldest sibling. He's the most intelligent. He's got the
Yeah.
coolest boss battles. But lately, they seem to have usurped him with Larry. Like I've seen official Nintendo
Eh,
flavor text that calls Larry the leader of the Koopalings, and I'm just like, well, fuck that. He's the most generic one.
yeah. Like, Ludwig is definitely the best one. I like that he's a composer.
Right. And Wendy, Iggy, and Lemmy are good too. The rest of them, I could take or
Yeah.
leave. But
Yeah.
still waiting to see
They,
them in a 3D Mario game.
yeah. Anyway, wait. Oh, okay, got it. Like an actual 3D Mario game. I was about to be like, What about new Super? But you meant
No, that is what
yeah.
ruined the Koopalings.
Okay, that's an opinion you're allowed to have. Honestly, like, the Koopalings were always just kind of some unique Koopa designs, and they were brought back to the series pretty much exactly as they always were, which is to say, not super interesting. Due to fan demand, people wanted the Koopalings back, and Nintendo was like, yeah, okay, here's your Koopalings.
Well,
And now
okay.
people are like, too many Koopalings.
It's just you're supposed to expand on them. Like they did improve the boss battles and make them more interesting in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, but since then it's been crap. And like Mario boss battles in general tend to be lacking. And people are just sick
Yeah,
of seeing them. They had them in Wii 2 and U, back to back to back.
right.
So
I get it.
yeah,
I mean, the original Super Mario Brothers' boss battles were all the same thing over and over again.
that's true. God, just 2D Mario bosses. When did they ever get them right? Outside of the original New Super Mario Bros.
Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins.
I didn't play that one.
Okay, well, you gotta. Anyway, so clearly you enjoyed Super Mario Bros. 3 quite a bit.
I did absolutely.
So did I. It's a fun-ass game.
Yeah.
I really like that it has Mario Bros. In it, which is kind of a recurring thing for the series. Just bringing back the tiny little arcade game.
Right.
So next up, moving into the 16-bit era with a huge jump in graphics and a huge jump in gameplay, is Super Mario World.
Super Mario World. I never finished it. I'm just gonna.
What?
I didn't finish it. I wasn't
What?
interested enough to finish it.
I have finished Super Mario World so many times. Over and over and over again, I've played and beaten that game.
How?
I love... What do you mean, how?
I like. It's been a while, but I just didn't find the game engaging. I didn't think the platforming was as good. And you know what I hate about it? I don't like the aesthetic. Like the art design, I just don't like it. It just I'm sick of seeing it. I don't like the music. I don't think its style encapsulates the kind of Mario that I'm typically interested in hearing. It's just I don't like it. I'm not a Super Mario World fan. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, you can fuck right off and go to hell because Super Mario World is the best 2D platformer in the Super Mario Brothers series and one of the best 2D platformers of all time. It's got that cape boy.
I mean,
It's
it's just a
got
poor man's Tanuki
it's
suit, am I
got
right?
it's got freaking Yoshi.
I don't like Yoshi's
Oh,
design either.
come on.
I think this
What?
game was like the least comfortable it was to use Yoshi. I didn't enjoy doing it.
I mean, okay, to be fair, you do, like, punch Yoshi in the back of the head to get him to stick his tongue out,
Mario's just a
and
cruel
then
bastard in this.
jump off of him to get an extra boost. I can see why you could feel uncomfortable to use Yoshi, but also he's freaking Yoshi!
Eh.
Also, like, so Super Mario Bros. 3 has that, like, branching world map that you're so into, which is cool. Super Mario World not only has that, it has, like, so many secret courses and, like, secret paths and, like, not one but two whole secret special worlds. You know, there's the Star World, and then if you complete the Star World with all the secret exits, you unlock the special world. Like, that's super cool.
Eh. I thought Super Mario Bros. 3 did world maps better. Wasn't a big fan of navigating the world map in World.
It's like a one big interconnected, like, world in World. It's not just a bunch of, like, individual maps that are pretty much just linear levels, but sometimes you can choose between 3 and 4.
Eh. I'm sorry. Like, it's been too long for me to play this to come up with a cogent argument. So maybe I'm a little biased or just out of
That's
the loop. But I don't like Super Mario World. I'm sorry, I couldn't finish it.
okay.
If I couldn't
Well,
finish it as a kid, I doubt I could finish it now when I'm much less enamored with platform.
that's fair, I guess. I mean, you're wrong, and I mean our comments, which are very lovely listeners, should be leaving in the comments. will vindicate me. But,
I mean,
I
I
guess for
know.
now I can let you have your bad
I know
opinion.
Super Mario World is the golden goose as far as these side scrollers go. Like that's the one you can't attack without getting shit for.
Yeah. But moving on from 2D platformers, the console after the Nintendo 64 brought Mario into 3D.
Absolutely. Super Mario 64, the one that started it all, sort of.
That game. Now, this is the game that I have controversial opinions on.
Oh no.
So, I will say about it that it is fun as hell. Moving around as Mario in that game feels very good. Like the movement they had down day one. And honestly, up until Odyssey, they had always been worsening it, not making it better from Super Mario 64. Like, the long jump, the high jump, the backflip, the wall kicks, just everything that you can do as Mario in Super Mario 64 just feels good to do.
Sunshine felt better
Uh,
and had more options too.
Sunshine Sunshine had more options and like also felt good, but it just was a little less smooth, you know?
I'm gonna disagree heavily, and you know what my main argument for that is? The punches and kicks. That never felt natural to me in Super Mario 64. It's just clunky as a
Eh,
fighting mechanic, and like Mario punching and kicking outside of Smash just doesn't feel right. You know, I'm glad they ditched that.
okay.
Yeah,
That's fine, I guess. I like his like so the other thing I will say about Mario 64 is that it is incredibly breakable. It is one fragile ass game full of glitches and bugs, very exploitable. Watching Super Mario 64 get speedrunned, like, if you've never seen a 120 star speedrun of Super Mario 64, like, set aside an hour and a half after the hour and a half that you set aside watching our show, and like just sit down and watch that shit because it's a work of beauty. It's artwork. It's incredible.
yeah. Does it use glitches though? Because
Yes, all
speedrunning
the
with
time.
glitches, I don't really see as legit.
Uh,
That's just my opinion. Like if I want to, like I know that's not the general opinion, but with speedrunning, if you're gonna impress me, you got to do it the right way, the intended way, and be super fucking fast with it. Don't use a
you
glitch to.
don't really watch many speedruns, do you?
No.
Right.
Of course, I'm
Like
not a big
the
speedrunner.
entire idea is definitely like the Mario 64 has so many glitches that even if you're trying to play it legit, you'll run into some glitches. Like a lot of them.
Right.
It's a very broken game. And also like that's also kind of one of my complaints with it. Like I'm not a speedrunner myself, which means that when I'm trying to just play it and have a good time, like I'm having a good time jumping around as Mario with that. Finally, Charles Martinet is the voice of Mario as of that title, so he's
Right.
got that woo ha waha, you know. But like then he goes woo ha and then falls through the world and dies.
Yeah.
Wow!
Yeah. Um.
Um,
It's got issues.
and then of course there's the level design, which like World 2 of Super Mario 64, like just straight off the bat is introducing like bottomless pits, which are a way more dangerous thing in a 3D platformer than in a 2D platformer,
Right.
which I guess kind of makes up for the fact that like enemies are no longer a dangerous thing like at all. But it still feels like a very sudden spike in difficulty that wasn't thought through. And by the end of things, like fuck Rainbow Ride, you know, fuck TikTok
You're
Clock.
kind of bringing
Like,
up a point.
these
The level
are
design, while I feel pretty great at first, especially for like their first 3D Mario platformer, it takes a downturn
right.
once you get farther into that game. Second half of that game, much weaker level design.
Yeah.
Like it ain't all Bob-omb Battlefield and Womp Fortress and Dire Docks, you know. There's some shit.
I, also, like, fuck swimming in that game.
Absolutely. And the wonky camera angles. There's another criticism you can't overlook.
Yeah, seeing things in Mario 64 is hard. So it's been a while since I picked Mario 64 up. Oh, my other main complaint, which was fixed on the N64 with Banjo-Kazooie and on the Switch with Mario Odyssey, is that when you collect a star, you leave the level and have to select a different star in the same level.
Right.
Which, like, on the one hand, that does allow you to, like, choose different versions of Bob-omb Battlefield or Tall Tall Mountain or whatever to go to. But it also, like, makes the gameplay experience far longer than it needs to be.
Yeah, I agree. But to back off of the
Um,
criticisms for a second and give it some applause, Peach's
of
Castle,
course.
the first hub world in a Mario game,
Right.
jumping, running around and
It's
jumping into the paintings and exploring the vast labyrinth that is that castle and the courtyard and everything, finding Yoshi on top. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff.
absolutely.
And it's just been a
Completely
shame
agreed.
that they've done away with it. That kind of hub world.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, and like nowadays when Nintendo tries to pull those nostalgia strings, I feel like it's definitely Super Mario 64 that they tug at the hardest, you know? Like
Right.
with that bonus world in Super Mario Odyssey with Peach's Castle. I
Right.
just
Or in Mario Galaxy 2 with the Throwback Galaxy.
right. Or I mean even Mario Rabbids had some of that going on with Peach's Castle.
A little bit,
How could
yeah.
you just that theme? How could you forget that
Right.
theme? Do. It's just
Ba-ba-ba!
perfection. Yes. So does that about cover it for 64?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh wait, so long, Gay Bowser. Had to throw that in there. Couldn't overlook that.
Okay.
Uh,
Right. He does say
Actually, I guess Super Mario 64 started the tradition with these 3D Mario games of having you fight Bowser 2 or 3 times, with like the fight being the same thing as it was last time, but only with one minor element introduced into it. So that sucks. That's a
right.
major criticism I have of it.
Yeah.
Yep. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like, that's a legit criticism.
yeah. Boss fights in general in the game I don't think were superb. Like King Bob-omb is a standout, but there aren't a lot of great ones.
So, I mean, now that we've talked about some of the key points in Mario's history, do you want to like bring things forward to the present a bit?
Sure.
And talk about, the latest
We're not
major
gonna cover
entry in the
Odyssey?
Super Mario title. I was specifically going to cover Odyssey.
Oh, I thought we were going into the his moveset in Smash. I'm sorry. Okay, yes.
No,
Continue.
I would like specifically to talk about Super Mario Odyssey.
All right, let's do it.
Which, kind of is like the most direct spiritual successor to Mario 64. Although it's got something for everyone. No matter
It's a
which
solid
Mario game is your Mario game,
Right.
Mario Odyssey has some fan service for you.
You should not like it. Like even if you don't love
Right.
it, you should like it, or else I don't know if you have taste.
It's real fucking fun. And I will say that, I do think that Mario 64's movement is better than Sunshine's, but Mario Odyssey's movement is
The best.
the best I've ever felt controlling a player character in any video game ever.
Totally. I mean, like
I
when
think
you
so,
throw
yeah.
the cap and then you bounce off it and dive, like
Yeah.
just the platforming in that game. 3D platforming is just superb. It just doesn't get
It's
better.
incredible.
And like the
Yeah.
ability to turn into all the enemies around you and working that into the level design is just
It's so cool.
I gotta go replay Mario Odyssey.
It's really fun.
It is.
Um
I have
as far as
criticisms.
Oh, go ahead. I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
Now, we do have this system where you go around and there's a ton of power moons thrown about the world, sometimes upwards of 70, and you
Hmm.
have to, just it's a scavenger hunt. Go around, find as many moons as you can. Some of them are a little more difficult to find, most of them are not that difficult to uncover. Here's my problem with it. I like that it doesn't kick you out of the level, but it's not as satisfying to collect these things because here's how I view it. In 64 or Sunshine or Galaxy, it's collecting a power star is like finding a crisp $5 bill laying on the ground. Like it's good. It's fun, it's like, "Oh good, I got $5. That's nice." In Super Mario Odyssey, it's more like collecting 20 quarters scattered all across the map instead of just picking up that crisp $5 bill. And like it works for the game, and I understand they want to do shorter, bite-sized chunks because the Switch is portable and all that. But I do miss having these more dedicated missions with more satisfying goals to complete and stars to
I
collect.
mean,
Because like
they do have those. That's what you
they
get
have
the
some, but
triple
there's not
moons
as
for.
much. It's not as much focus. Most of them are
Yeah,
just like ground pound the sparklies on the ground, or
right.
throw your cap on the sparklies on this antenna.
I mean, but some of them are definitely like interesting,
Yes,
unique
there
challenges.
are legit
There's
ones. The dumpster one,
like
jumping off the New
herd
Donk
of the
City
sheep.
skyscraper.
Oh, sure.
Oh, don't
Yeah.
use Herd the Sheep as an example. That was
Yeah.
like
Okay.
in the
Fine.
Mushroom Kingdom when you had to find like six of them scattered all across this big map and herd that. That was just a nightmare. I can't believe they forced us to do that. But
Yeah.
probably
I
my least
mean,
favorite move.
well, I mean, actually, let me counter that by saying that they didn't force you to do that. You don't have to get all those power
Well, I know,
moons.
but if you want to, just that's not a fun mission. I feel like that should have been scrapped.
Sure. Fair.
Um,
Uh,
I'm not like I love this game. I think it's a great game, but I am a little more critical of it than your average person, so I'm gonna come across as like the pessimistic naysayer here. My other big problem with the game, when people praise it, they're always like, "Oh, I just completed the story, and there's still so much endgame content. Like this has more endgame content than anything I've ever played." And I'm like, "Okay,
right.
but the main story you run through is very short. Like this is much shorter than
Sure.
any other 3D. So don't say that like there's a ton of content more than we've ever had, because it's just like there better be a good end game, because otherwise, this game doesn't have enough to offer. And it does because of the end game, but still, like the framing people use with that when they talk about Odyssey always kind of rubs me the wrong way. Because I don't like that the story is shorter, and I feel like a lot of the end
Hmm.
game moons that they add are very much filler and padding. So the
I, I
story and
I
the
can understand that.
scattershot moons. That's just those are my two issues with the game. Even though I love it, those are the two problems, if you ask me.
I getcha.
Yeah.
I can feel you on those. I like in my experience, I didn't really mind.
Mm.
I was satisfied with my experience with the game and have since put it down, and I'm probably not gonna pick it up again for a while. But
Um,
it's a fun game.
I gotta give it credit though. The world designs finally ditching the boring like paint by the numbers ones and going for these awesome like the Luncheon Kingdom or Bowser's Kingdom being like a feudal Japan
Yeah.
aesthetic. Like just yes.
Oh, I love the kingdoms in Mario Odyssey. Like, okay, top three kingdoms.
I wrote an article about this on my site. I can't remember what I said it was then. My favorite
Okay.
is definitely the Wood Kingdom. Like you said once, it has a very GameCube aesthetic to it, like Pikmin and Chibi Robo. I like it.
Yeah.
I love the music. I love the aesthetic. It's huge. It's got some fun battles, great enemies to possess. My second favorite, I'm gonna say Bowser's Kingdom, just for how unique they went with the
Hmm.
aesthetic, and the Robo Brood boss battle was incredible. And the Pokio is like the best capture in the game, the little bird thing. Third favorite, I'm gonna say New Donk City for obvious reasons.
Okay.
How about
That's
you?
legit. I would say that my favorite kingdom kind of has to be the Ruined Kingdom, which is not spent much time in, but I love just how different its aesthetic is from the entire rest of the Mario universe. if you haven't played Mario Odyssey, I'm not gonna say another damn word about what the Ruined Kingdom is.
Oh, it's good. Yeah,
It's the best.
I can understand that.
Besides that, honestly, uh, as a like when I was younger, I was a huge fan of like Tim Burton's animated films. I loved like
Here
The
we
Nightmare
go.
Before
Yep.
Christmas a lot. So like the Cap Kingdom really appeals to me. It's very basic, but it's just got that like big moon and the all the caps. It really like sets up the game in like a really atmospheric and kind of chilling
You're
way
totally
that
right. Like it's not just the
I just
green
love it.
grass area.
Absolutely. Um, and then for my number three, I will say, oh, I really loved going back to the moon. You know, it's been so long since Mario's been to the moon. Uh, and I loved all the Super Mario Land 2 references there.
Yeah.
Oh, you just said that you never played Mario Land 2. Did you know he went to the moon in that game?
Yeah. Like I didn't think of it just now. I thought you might have been referring to the Thousand Year Door, and I was like, Sterling, that isn't canon, and you never played it. But no, that's legitimate. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, we both love Odyssey. That's kind of a brief retrospective over Mario's games. So now let's talk about Mario in Smash.
So, do you want to like start talking about how he's changed, or
Yeah, I mean, I have a brief little list of the major changes that have his moveset has undergone.
sure?
Uh, so, you know, Mario's moveset in 64, like, very basic. You know, he's got punches, kicks, he's got the sex kick, he's got the,
The sex
you
kick?
know. Yeah, do
Huh?
you not? Oh, the sex kick is a type of attack in Smash Brothers where a character just kind of extends their foot and falls in midair, and it has like a certain type of hitbox. Mario's got one. I think Captain Falcon has one. It's a thing. It's like a term.
Okay. All right.
Um, but like his special moves, despite all being, you know, based on things Mario does, you know, he's got the fireball, which has been in the series since Super Mario Bros. He's got the super jump punch uppercut, which is like you know, he jumps. Also kind of based on Mario Bros. Also kind of based on how his original name was Jumpman.
He's smashing a
And then
block,
he's got
basically. Yeah.
yeah, and then he's got the Mario Tornado, which is based on his spin jump from Super Mario World. So, you know, these moves are definitely Mario. They're also, as I've mentioned in a previous episode, kind of based on Ryu's most prominent attacks. You know, uh, Sakurai, when he created Smash Brothers, he was trying to, you know, kind of make fighting games more accessible, kind of make them more appealing to a wider audience. And in doing so, as a fan of Street Fighter, he kind of made Mario into a mini Ryu. You know, Ryu's got the Hadouken, Mario's got the Fireball. Ryu has the Shoryuken, Mario has the Super Jump Punch. And where Ryu has the Tatsumaki-sen Pikachu, Mario has the Mario Tornado.
Right. It's all very basic, and it's kind of outdated at
Yeah,
this point, if you ask me.
it's very it's very basic, but that's not a problem necessarily.
Since
You
Mario
know, I
is the
think
basic ass fighter.
Mario is very basic. Mario should be basic, you know,
Right.
when new players pick up Super Smash Brothers, like Mario is kind of the one they're gonna pick, right? It's the
Sure.
one they most people are most familiar with. In the changes from 64 to Melee, you know, a lot of them are just changes to how the game works. You know, Mario
Right.
became a lot faster on the ground because it's Melee. He did gain a wall jump, which was added in Melee, and you know, he's been able to do that since Mario 64, so definitely that's one of his core abilities. He got a new forward smash, the palm explosion. and a new forward aerial, his like downwards meteor smash punch.
That palm explosion could be handled differently, I think. There's got to be a better, because that's not really even something he does. Like, there's got to be a better power up that you
Yeah,
reference there.
sure. He also gained an up throw and a down throw since those were added in Melee, which those are pretty basic. I do like that his side throws have always been the Super Mario 64 "So long, Bowser."
Absolutely.
And side specials were added in Melee, which gave Mario the cape from Super Mario World, which at this point is kind of the most versatile tool in his moveset, because it flips opponents around, and as of Brawl has them keep their momentum too.
Right. And at this point, I would say it's also the most irrelevant, outdated, needs to go move.
Sure. But also the most interesting, which is kind of a catch-22.
Yeah. It's not even how he uses the cape in Mario World. Like, at least let it double by letting him glide on it or something. But
right, I guess. From Melee to Brawl, he did get another new special move. His down special was changed from the Mario Tornado, which became his new down aerial, to Flood.
Fantastic
which,
choice.
For the time.
Sure. I mean, I still think Flood should be in his moveset, because he's a plumber. Like, that reps the plumber aspect, you know?
I guess. I kind of would rather Flood be something else. Like, Flood would be a cool item. Flood would be cool in Professor Egad's moveset. I don't know if Flood needs to be part of Mario's moveset today.
I think it's a unique special move, different from anything else we have. Except, I guess, Squirtle's water vomit thing now, but, whatever.
It's definitely water gun, but okay. Water vomit thing works.
He vomits it out, doesn't he? I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a gun.
So, I mean, besides Flood, which it seems like we're in disagreement on, Brawl did also add 2 new types of attacks, which Mario has. He now has a floor attack, because Brawl added tripping. And he has the Mario Finale, his final smash.
It's such a lame one, too. Like, what a basic final smash. And I know Mario's supposed to be basic, but they can do better than this.
I kind of agree, yeah.
Like, honestly, even just a Mega Mushroom be preferable, as lame as that is.
Yeah, like, the Mario Finale is not really based on anything in particular. It's just, fireballs, but big.
Man, not a fan. So anyway,
I can understand why.
Smash 4 changes?
His airspeed and jumps were improved.
Is that it?
I mean, like, all of these, like, I'm kind of leaving out a bunch of, like, technical, like,
right.
His up tilt has 1 less damage percent that it does.
His side tilt hitbox is, like, 2% bigger.
Right. But, like, in terms of major overarching changes, all that really changed for Mario was that he, became more of a jump man.
Yeah.
Which somehow was enough to bump him up from bottom tier to, like, pretty close to top tier.
That, up air combo he's got going.
Right.
And with Smash Ultimate, he doesn't actually seem to have any new move. Cappy is just like an aesthetic thing and a taunt.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. 2 taunts, actually, interestingly.
Like, you pointed out that, the Odyssey wouldn't have been as prevalent as thing during this game's development. And you can see that. Like, they might have put a stage in and thrown Cappy in there with Mario, but, like, he doesn't have a Cappy move. I think he would have gotten one if Odyssey came out a couple years earlier,
Yeah,
replace the side special with him. Let him throw Cappy out and bounce off of that like he does in the games. That would have been amazing. But
it would be really cool.
But whatever.
Yeah, what's done is done. Ultimate also does give him the Wedding and Builder alternate costumes,
which is good.
To reference Mario Odyssey and Mario Maker, respectively. I'm always in favor of more alts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
So I mean, those are the changes that he's had throughout the Smash series. What do you what do you think of Mario in Smash? Do you like
He's
playing as Mario?
no, he's basic. I used to do it when I was younger and was more new to Smash, but if I want that Mario moveset, I'm just gonna play Luigi, because he's Mario
Hmm.
but more interesting, you know?
See, like I actually kind of enjoy playing as Mario. I really like the cape. It's like a really interesting tool, but like I also have an alternative that I prefer, which is to say Dr. Mario.
Eh, let's not cover him right now. Let's
Yeah.
save that.
I that's fine, fair. So if you were to improve Mario, like, okay, let's try two tacks on this, right?
Mhm.
First, if you were to take Mario's existing Smash moveset and tweak it, alter it, give him some new moves, what would you do to make him a little more fun to play and a little more distinct?
The side special would absolutely
Mm.
have to be Cappy. Now, obviously, you're gonna have the standard cap throw where he throws it out and it hits someone and it does damage to them, but also let him throw the cap out. Give him an option to keep it hovering in the air so he can jump on it and use it as a platform to,
Hmm.
boost his recovery options like he does in Super Mario Odyssey. Because I think that would just make the character so much more interesting than he is right now. I would also say change the fireball. Like it should still be a fireball, but it's too slow. It doesn't feel punchy enough like it does in the actual Mario games. Like let it move faster. Let
Okay.
it be bouncier and let it move faster, you know?
Okay. I feel you.
I think I I think the up special could be improved upon too, although I don't have anything off the top of my head. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't have anything. Although I would say
Okay.
giving him the galaxy spin instead of the tornado whirl thing would be optimal if we didn't
Right.
have flood or replace his down air with that. That's
Sure,
about
sure.
it.
All right.
Yeah.
Uh, so second question. If you were to completely reboot Mario's moveset, let's say there's a Smash reboot where
Uh,
every single character's existing moveset is scrapped and you have to go back to the drawing board and give him a whole new moveset. What kind of thing would you end up going with?
Power ups everywhere. Like not just his specials, but those normal attacks need to incorporate them too. Like maybe his side tilt has him tossing hammers like Hammer Mario, you know? Maybe one of his
Okay.
air attacks can involve the frog suit. I don't have anything specific laid out, but basically how you want Toad to operate is how I would envision Mario operating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give me four special moves for that, or
Off the
is
top of
that a
my
little too
head,
much on the spot?
up special, Propeller Shroom.
I would say, yeah, Happy Hat.
Yeah, New Super Mario Bros. Wii was a big deal, landmark game, and that was the most fun item
Yeah.
from it. Side special, I mean you can just
I
cut
mean,
this
that
out.
could just be the cape.
I don't know. Absolute Cappy throw. There we go. Of course.
Okay.
Side special's Cappy throw. Down special. Do I still want to keep Flood? Yeah, I'm gonna keep Flood around. And for his
Okay.
neutral special, again, the Fireball being bouncier and faster, like I said. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, like I said, you'd incorporate power ups in his different attacks. Like his side air could be spinning around and hitting you with the Tanuki tail. Things like that.
I getcha. All right. That's pretty cool.
So how about
I'd play
you?
it. Oh, I didn't think about this at all. I mean, for which question? Both?
Yeah. So the first one, how would you change his existing moveset?
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
I mean, I agree with the Cappy thing. That's my same.
Right.
Um, I'd definitely give him a new Final Smash. Trying to think what else it could be. Like Mario has a long history. There's options. The Mega Mushroom could be fine. Have him do a squish. That's okay.
Yeah. I mean, the T Rex is
Um,
popularly suggested, but it's also suggested that wouldn't
right.
age well.
Mm, yeah. T Rex would be kind of weird. Um, oh, I did at one point see an idea where his final smash could be like throwing his cap at someone and capturing them like in Odyssey and giving you the opportunity to like essentially fight as someone else taking their controls away and like either do some damage without getting damaged as Mario and instead get opponents damaged, or you could like just jump your foe off the edge and get one free KO. Which,
See, that second thing sounds too OP. And I'm
I
also,
mean, for a final smash,
I mean, just being able to guarantee a KO like that, yeah, I do think it is kind of,
yeah, okay, fair.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think the capture thing is really the best route to go.
Yeah,
I just,
I
it's
guess.
hard to find one definitive thing that Mario should do. Like the Mega
Right.
Mushroom is
He
the first thing that
changes
comes to
so
mind.
much.
Yeah, he just.
Um,
So how would you revamp him?
oh man, I have no idea. Like, honestly, like, Mario as he is in Smash is so succinctly Mario. I think, like, yeah, I just have no clue. I guess I would have him. I would try to base him more on the older Mario titles rather than going for like a trying to capture every Mario into one Mario. I would think I would probably end up going like down to the core of what Mario is. So like,
Okay.
I I don't know. It's real hard to say. I did not prepare this ahead of time at all. And like honestly, I'm happy enough with Mario and Smash that it's not something I've considered.
Okay. I mean, I was thinking, I might want to make an edit to mine. The up special instead of the propeller shroom should be the Galaxy Spin from Super Mario Galaxy, so that you rep all three of his companions from the 3D Mario games: Flood, the Baby Luma, and Cappy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah. I mean, it's Mario. He's fine. Whatever they do with him, it'll probably
Yeah.
be fine. You know.
Yeah. Um I definitely I like there's so much that you can do with Mario that like you could have the same core moveset concept of like, just it's Mario and he's got all the Mario abilities and it could just end up completely different, you know, just
Right.
depending on which games you pull from for which moves.
I mean, I'm curious to see what they do
Uh
with him in the reboot.
if we get such a thing and if it works like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, whether or not a reboot is coming is a topic for another time, I think. And speaking of another time, uh, you know, it's so just to lend our listeners a little context for this episode. I have a very bad fever, and it's also, let me just check right now. It's 78 degrees.
Oh, is that hot for
My
you?
bedroom, well, it's cooled down significantly outside since the beginning of the episode. But also, I live in, like, New York, so yes.
I'm out here dealing with like 95-degree weather, and you're complaining
Right.
about 78. All right.
And also, I don't. Because I'm recording, I've turned the fan off in my room. So I'm cooking on the inside and the outside. So I think it would be
Wait,
prudent
that's our
right now.
perfect segue into the next character discussion: Cooking Mama. Right? Episode's
You
only
know.
halfway over, guys. Yeah, we still got another hour and
Oh my god.
12 minutes.
No, you don't.
No.
I'm trying to wrap up this episode.
No, that's
Um,
understandable. We've said what needs to be said.
I guess. Do you want to briefly touch on some of the Smash news from the past couple of weeks? We haven't really talked about,
Like what?
what's been happening in Smash Ultimate. Well,
Or what has been happening? Have we gotten anything
I
substantial
mean, there's
since
been
the
some
Ultimate
blog
reveal?
posts on the Super Smash blog. You know, mostly just music has been revealed. A bunch of like Pokemon and assist trophies that were in the E3 demo, which like you may not have seen if you didn't watch much gameplay footage.
What?
Like if you didn't watch enough gameplay footage to see both Lunala and Solgaleo come out of Pokeballs, like Solgaleo and Lunala come out of Pokeballs now. They weren't shown in
I mean,
the
that's all kind of small stuff. I don't have much to say
like
about it.
video presentation. But besides that, I think I'd kind of like to talk about some of the rumors that have been going around lately. Specifically, someone seems to have claimed that in data mines of Super Smash Bros. 4 patches, Data that seems to have been a placeholder for Bayonetta's was found in an a patch of Smash 4 long before the ballot ended.
I never thought that Bayonetta was like the actual ballot winner, even by the standards they tried to justify her by. Like, this doesn't surprise me. I figured the ballot was an excuse to put Bayonetta in.
I mean, my interpretation is definitely that the ballot's winner is the character who gets chosen. It was never going to be a straight up and down popularity contest where most votes gets into Smash, because like most votes was Goku. Second most votes was Ridley, and he was already a boss, you know? Like there's no way that
I mean, I don't know
most
if Ridley would have
votes.
gotten second most votes. Like among the core Smash fan base, maybe, but casuals or a thing. Like I think Waluigi would have scored higher than Ridley.
Maybe. He was an assist trophy. So, like, among realizable characters, Bayonetta was always real popular anyway. Like, she's a
No,
popular.
let's. I think we're over. Like, was she top 10? No, I don't think so. Even going
Yes.
by like realizable characters, I am very skeptical of that. They tried to justify
Mm,
it by using the EU as an example, like she was a top 5 contender there. I just like this very much. I do think, the ballot, they passed it off as like a popularity contest, like we're going to see who the ballot winner is and then put
right.
them in as the final
It.
DLC character. That's not what happened.
Except they never passed it off as that. People convinced themselves it was that, but all they said is that it was a suggestion box, basically. They said, like, put in your character that you want and they'll be considered for the next Smash Brothers title. That's all they really said.
Um
And,
I mean,
like,
what
even.
it's saying vote for the new I'm looking at the official site page for the ballot. It's saying vote for the new Super Smash Bros. Fighter for Nintendo 3DS and Wii U. It's kind of, yeah, like this isn't giving off the impression of this is going to be determining who we put in the next game. This kind of does feel like a
Mm,
popularity contest. I think it's a little sketchy what they did, but I also think that we're going to be getting these big heavy hitters in this game, and that's what the ballot was really for.
right.
So, eh.
I mean, I also think, regardless of the ballot, regardless of quote unquote Sakurai bias, Bayonetta warrants a spot in Smash. Like,
I mean, I agree.
she is a part of the Nintendo family, and like as a part of the Nintendo family, is like kind of the only grown up at the table. And I think that's worth including in Smash.
I would say a lot of people are upset because she's kind of a disappointing final, like this is the final ballot winning newcomer, and I can kind of see where they're coming from. Like if they were already
Mm,
going to do this if they already had the intention of putting Bayonetta in the game, saving her for the final newcomer reveal didn't seem too smart to me. Like I would think Cloud or Ryu would make more sense.
Definitely not Ryu.
I mean,
Ryu's not nearly
maybe
as
he's
as
not as
popular.
popular.
Cloud, sure. I could see Cloud being the big hype machine star, and he kind of
Yeah,
was.
I think they handled it awkwardly.
That's fair. Um, I think probably some of it got lost in translation. I think a lot of people I've seen online, specifically on some of the trashier internet forums that you and I tend to frequent.
GameFAQs is
Uh,
the epitome of quality, Sterling.
no, it's not.
Quality discussion and debate.
Like, a lot of people on there are like, how could Sakurai deceive us? He's a monster and he needs to be arrested for not putting in my most wanted character, King Karuli.
I think that I don't blame Sakurai. Like I would think
Yeah,
of it more as like a Nintendo exec decision, but yeah, it's still. I mean, I have some sympathy towards people who say this is sketchy and they shouldn't have done it this way. But yeah, there are people who totally overreact and call for Sakurai's head, like always.
yeah. I mean, not really like always. You know, I think before Brawl came out, that wasn't really a thing. Uh, and
Brawl
it
changed
like
it though. Brawl,
The Smash fan base has become with time a more and more like antagonistic towards the guy who created these games that all of these people still love a lot. So, like,
Two things though.
you know,
Two things.
mm,
Brawl, like you said, this didn't happen before Brawl. Brawl kind of redefined this whole hype newcomer machine, didn't it? Like the hype train with Brawl and Smash 4 is a lot different than from Melee. Like newcomer reveals were kind of a bigger deal, you know?
yeah,
And
that's fair.
also like there were more obvious characters. Like everyone can agree Wario should be in Smash, Diddy Kong should be in Smash, King Dedede and or Meta Knight should be in Smash. Now that we've gotten these
Right.
obvious mainline characters out of the way, it's it's not that we don't have anyone to include, but there are a lot of smaller time characters that now have a stake in the pie and can compete. So people don't have that level of agreement anymore, you know?
I guess, yeah.
Like
It's
Bandana D is
definitely
not King
more.
Dedede. Everyone isn't going
Yeah,
to agree on him, you know?
you're right about that. It's a more competitive situation
So yeah,
for newcomers.
like I don't think it's
Yeah.
understandable that it's
Uh,
gotten this way.
so I actually one quick note on Bandana D. In so there was like a few years back a data mine of Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World, which revealed that in the code there was space for the game to accept amiibo, like secondary amiibo that had not yet been revealed or made for Daisy and Bandana Waddle Dee. And now a second Daisy amiibo has been revealed, and it's a Smash Brothers one. How do you think that affects Bandana D's chances? Do you think that counts as him being leaked?
What else would they have a Bandana D amiibo for? Like Star Allies release, they didn't release amiibo for that, did they? They wouldn't have plans for
Nope.
that. Like I have, I guess if there is a Bandana D amiibo plan, then yeah, he must be in Smash. That's the only explanation I can think of.
Okay.
Like
Do
even if they
do you
did a
think that's
Kirby,
sufficient evidence? Like the Yoshi's Woolly World data mine?
how concrete is it? Oh yeah,
Um,
um, if they really
I mean
do
it's
have a Bandana D amiibo planned, then I think we can probably assume that he's in Smash. That's just what I have to say about it.
okay.
Unless that
That's
was
fair.
just like I don't understand. I'm not an expert on data mining. Like maybe it was just a Star Allies amiibo set that was scrapped or something. I don't know. I don't know
Sure.
how this works.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I honestly don't either, but I think definitely like if you're a Bandana D supporter, you might as well use this to justify it.
Yeah. I mean, the ball's in their court now. They got the upper hand. And
Yeah.
it makes me a little hopeful that maybe we won't be ripped off, so to speak, in regards to the total number of newcomers. Because, like,
Hmm.
people were thinking Sakurai would go for the exciting crowd pleaser picks. Bandana D is kind of a
Right.
bland choice that we can frankly do without. If he's included,
I mean,
maybe there's more hope that we'll get more newcomers than just like 5 or 6.
maybe, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm expecting I was already expecting a few more newcomers than you were, you know.
Mhm.
I think 8 to 12 would be still decidedly few newcomers, but not like no newcomers.
I mean, I would be ecstatic to have 12, but I
Right.
think more like 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's all the news I had to discuss. Is that an episode for us?
I think that's an episode for us.
All right. Hey, Will.
Yes, sir.
Good game.
Good